working with master pages. So what I'm going to do first of all is I'm just going to go ahead and create a new document by either clicking here, Command N to create a new document. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and set this up. Let's say we want to do a multi-page magazine layout. So we want this to be 6 pages and we want 6 columns. And down here at the bottom you're going to notice my margins. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use my master pages to create a footer. So what I want to do is add an extra pica on the bottom margin for that footer. With this chain right here, with it closed or linked, if I change any of these parameters, it will change it for all 4. I don't want to do that, so I'm going to go ahead and unlink my chain or break it, and I'm going to come down here to my bottom margin and I'm going to put +1 P, which means +1 pica. I'm going to hit tab. I don't want to hit return because I'm not done with my setting up my document. So I'm going to hit tab, and as you can see, InDesign calculates and changes it to 4 pica. So now I have a 3 pica margin on the top, inside and outside, but a 4 pica margin on the bottom, which is going to help with my footer. I'm going to go ahead and click OK. And now I'm going to take a minute, just like I did in the previous lesson, and set up my document with my additional layers. Okay, so this is how my page is set up. I have my images layer, my text layer, my page furniture layer, and my 4-column grid. So I can turn on and off my 4-column grid if I want to use it. I also have my picture frames and my text frames here set up. Now you'll notice if I click on my pages panel here, you'll notice that I have all my 6 pages. Now up at the top you can also arrange these pages accordingly. Let's say I wanted page number 1 to be actually page number 2. I can just click and drag it down here. You can see that little double line right there. So now it's, if I double click on page 2, now I have page number 2, page number 3, etc. If I double click the hand tool, it's going to center my spread. You'll notice in the pages panel I can always create new pages down here, or I can select a page like page 6 and I can delete the selected page. So now I have 5 pages. But you'll also notice up here that I have an A master. If I double click on the A master, it's going to open up what's called the A master spread. Now the advantage of a master page is whatever I put on the page is going to apply to all of the pages. So let's say, as you can see right down here, I have a little bit more space. I have an extra pica for my footer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and create a footer on my A master. I'm double clicked on it. You can see right here it's blue, it's selected. I'm going to grab my selection tool by clicking in my rulers and dragging in. I'm going to create a couple guides here. I'm going to create one on the inside and the outside of my margins. I'm going to hide this pages panel just for a minute right here. I'm going to start with that. Then I'm going to go ahead and make a rectangular frame from one of my guides to the other, about like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on my text tool, click in here and make it a text frame now. If I hit Command 4, it will zoom in 400%. Grab my hand tool here and let's move it over so now I can see this little box. I'm basically going to say Mel's Fabulous Magazine. And it may be issue number November 2014. Sure, sounds good. So I'm going to click at the beginning. And to put in a page number, it's a little bit interesting. What I want to do is insert a special character, markers, or current page number. Now when I click on this, it's going to give me the letter A. Because we're dealing with the master pages, it doesn't give us an actual page number because it applies to all the pages. So it can't exactly say page 1 because that's not page 1. It's just a symbol that represents our page numbers. And what I want to do is I want to put some space in here. And it's not very good practice to just hit the space bar a couple times. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type insert white space M space. And M space is basically the width of the letter M, or an N space, which is the width of the letter N. Depending on which tools I have selected here, click on my selection tool, this drop down menu over here I have additional options. Not a whole lot, but a couple. If I click on my text tool, now if I click on it, you'll notice I have quite a few options right here. Or what we can do is we can click in here, we can right click, insert special character markers, current page number, or insert white space M space. That's just a quicker way to do it. Or you'll notice we have a keyboard shortcut here, Command Shift M. So if I click in here and hit Command Shift M, I will put in a white space. If I want, I can select this page number and create a new character style. Page number. And we can change the basic character. Let's put my favorite Comic Sans just for illustration purposes. Let's make it a little bit bigger. We'll put it at like 15 points. And we want this color to be red because it's a page number. Click OK. I can apply that character style to it. Here as well, I can select all this. Paragraph styles. Let's go ahead and create a new paragraph styles. Again, we're going to call this footer. And we'll change this to, let's say, impact. That's a nice thick font. And we'll make this a little bit smaller, 10 points. We'll do this a blue. Click OK. Now you can see I have a footer paragraph style. I'm just going to apply it to that. If I space over here, here's what my footer is looking like. Double click my hand tool. There we go. We have a footer. Now what I want to do is I'm just going to grab this box and shrink it down so it's just about the size of what I need. Let's just click in here, our text. We'll get additional options in this drop-down menu. I'm going to go ahead and click on paragraph rules, and it brings up this dialog box. Let's go ahead and first of all make sure preview's on. We want to turn our rule on. Okay, we want our rule to be rule below. Turn it on. And we can choose different types. We can choose a certain type of color. Let's say we want it red, different types, thick and thin, dotted, dashed, etc. I'm going to say thick and thin right about here. Now I have rule below because technically it's below, but I set the offset so it's up above. And once I have it the way that I want, there's a bunch of different ways that we can set up a paragraph rule, but that's good enough for illustration purposes. I'm going to go ahead and click OK. Now I'm going to grab my selection tool so it shows this box. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this box down until that top horizontal rule lines right up with the bottom margin of my page. Now what I want to do is I want to have my footer exactly 1 pica below the bottom margin. So you'll notice when I select this, I have some parameters over here. It tells me exactly the position and the size of this particular box. So you'll notice with this box, here is the position of the box, and this is the exact dimensions of the box. So if I click my X up and down, you can see that it moves right and left, up and down, etc. So what I want to do is I want to drop it down exactly 1 pica from my margin. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come into my position, my Y position, and put +1 pica. And I'm going to hit tab. And you will notice it moved down exactly 1 pica. If I double click my hand tool, you'll notice I have a footer here. Hold down Option. I can click and drag it over to the other page. And of course, I'm going to select my text. And in my paragraph formatting controls, I want it to align to the right instead of the left. I'm going to select my page number, Command X to cut, Command V to paste, and Command Shift M to put in my M space. So basically what I did is I copied it across and reorganized it, flipped it around. So now if I go into my pages, you will notice in my A Master, if I double click on any one of these pages, I now have a footer on every single page. If I double click on pages 2 and 3 in the frame, it's right there. And you'll notice if I click on page 4 and 5, double click to frame it, you will notice it's no longer an A, but it is a page number 4. That's a terrible color and stroke for a page number, but that's okay for illustration purposes. Double click my hand tool. You'll also notice down here this dotted line. If I try and click on the footer, I can't do anything with it. I can't select it and move it. If I go into my A Master, you will notice that I can. But let's say on page 5, I want to have a full page spread advertisement on this page, and I don't want the footer on there. So what I can do is I can go into my Pages panel, and I can select page number 5 and right click on it, override all master page items. Okay, if I select that, you will notice that this dotted line is now a solid line. Just for this page alone, I can select things that typically would be on the A Master, move them around, or plainly delete them. So the page number is on all my pages except for page number 5, where I overrode all master page items.